It's time to start. Get Blueshelled, episode 48.
Y'all ready for this?
Oh god, what's happening?
Is that copyrighted?
It might be.
It's how
We
it's
might have
going.
to,
Okay, now you can go.
yeah. Welcome back to Get Blueshelled, episode 48, even though you said it already.
Yes. Brian, how are you doing?
Sorry, I had a Parks and Rec reference in the chat. I'm sorry.
How are y'all doing?
Pretty good. Not
Doing
too
well as
bad.
it can be.
I like how you changed your Discord icon.
That's my selfie. You like it?
I mean, it doesn't
No.
look anything like you, but
Oh, what do you mean? It is me. It's Queen Therazane from World of Warcraft, for those who are
is that who
unaware.
it is? I didn't know
Yeah. She's the Earth Mother.
that. Ooh, she sounds like a lovely lady.
Are you
Thank you.
Toph?
What?
Are you Toph? Are you
Oh
a
my
Earthbender?
god.
The Earth Mother?
Yo, honestly, I was thinking about this. Like, I've always wanted to be a firebender,
Uh-huh.
but metal bending's kind of badass, so I think I'd also be fine with being a metal bender.
But what if you just get stuck as like a crappy Earthbender?
Oh, then that's kind of depressing. That's like the
Even
one
though
I
do
don't
think they're
want.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
They're
not
cool,
every
but-
Earthbender can metal bend.
That's true.
Lava bend.
That's true. But every firebender is badass, so we're good.
So welcome to the podcast where we discuss our dream airbenders.
Our dream bending abilities. No, today we actually have a lot to get through. So let's try to get through the intro, and then we'll talk about the PlayStation 5 presentation and the new Paper Mario Origami King news.
Yay!
Also, Kinja, thank you for showing up at the beginning of the podcast. It's the first time we've ever had a viewer at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, it's great to have you here.
It's great to have you here.
Great bender.
Of course you can heal, Kinja, because you're a mercy main. Anyway, so what games have you guys been playing?
I don't know, Xenoblade still.
Xenoblade, I mean, I
beat
don't
it?
have anything else that's new.
Playing some Valorant.
How do you like Valorant?
I'm really liking it. I really like it. It's very, very competitive. It's so hardcore. Everyone knows all these callouts because I play with my brother's friends sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, "Oh, watch Heaven." I'm like, "Yo, I'm always watching Heaven. You know me."
Oh no, or hookah? Have you heard the hookah or U-Haul?
Yeah, no, I got the hookah and U-Haul too. I think I got a good sense of like one of the maps, but it's a lot. So I'm just gonna pick Windy Girl and just throw knives at people.
You would play Jet. You would
I love
100%
Jet.
play Jet.
I love Jet. I feel like I'm
100%.
good with her.
I feel like you are. We have to play Valorant sometime, but I haven't played since the beta ended.
So that's fine. You're probably better than me.
Oh god, no, I'm ass. See, I like the game, and I'll be honest with you, I thought I wasn't gonna like it at all. When I played it, I really liked it because, and not for like the typical reasons. I never played CS:GO,
Yeah.
but it's a slower paced shooter, and I don't know. I liked the whole like the very close knit team aspect where communication was like very important. It was slow paced, and your only job honestly was to just shoot people. You didn't have to worry about like, you can't really compare it to Overwatch, but just in this sense, it's not like you had to worry about other people's ultimate charges and like having to combo things. I mean, you can to an extent, but it's not the same.
Like from what I was getting, you have to like sort of be on the same page with the resources you spend.
Yeah.
But in terms of like your abilities, that's all on you. Like you don't have to worry about like, oh, Reyna, use your ultimate now. It's like, no, she could do whatever she wants with it as long as it gets the kills.
And also, I just really like that when you die, you can like kind of watch your friends. So it's cool when you're the last person. Like if it's a 1v1 and that everybody in your team is like watching and they're like
hyping you up. And you get that kill.
I hate it when people try to micromanage though. They're like, 3 people are like, no, he's over here. Oh, no, he's over here. Oh, go to your left. And I'm like, shut up so I can hear, because audio is so important. And when the beta came down, I played a couple games of Overwatch, not the ones from last night. I just played a couple, and I did not realize how cluttered Overwatch got.
Really?
Yeah, like not like got, because it's been cluttered, but one of the common complaints about Overwatch has always been that there's too much shit on the screen, and that there's too much stuff that you have to take in visually to kind of understand what's going on.
Right.
Obviously Overwatch is a very different game from Valorant, but it was weird that first like reset that I had of seeing Overwatch for the first time after not playing for a few months.
Yeah.
It really like I have to say, like, people are right when they say that. I was having a really hard time trying to take in what was going on. I don't know. It was interesting to me going from Valorant to Overwatch.
Are you telling me that you can't handle a Graviton Surge, a Dragon, a Gravatic Flux, and a Lucio beat all at the same time?
It's just like the audio cues are the only way you can play that game.
Yeah.
Like realistically, you visually can't take it all in. You have to hear the audio cues.
But it's funny because when you're first starting off, you have to like learn the audio cues.
Yeah, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough for you? I play Overwatch without any sound cues.
Oh god.
Oh, and then also I have an AC story for you guys.
Oh, nice.
Animal Crossing?
Electricity.
No, air conditioning. So I have this AC that I bought when I was in my last apartment, so it was about 2 years ago, and it's like a standing unit. It goes inside your apartment, and then you hook a hose up to it, and then it goes to the window, and then it draws in the air that way.
Okay.
Because in New York City, for those of you who don't know, you have to have like a whole bracket set up if you want to have a window AC unit, because obviously everything's really tight in New York City, and if it falls, it can hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have like something, and I'm like, I'm not setting up a bracket, so I'm just gonna get. And also, like, you never know what kind of apartment you're gonna be in. If you're in one with the bars in your window, then you're screwed. So I just decided I'm just gonna get one of the standing ones. So my parents actually bought it for me. It was like a $400 unit.
Oh, that's so nice.
And yeah, the problem though is that in my last apartment, I noticed that the second summer I had it, it just never went below 80 degrees. I'm like, that's weird. This is literally, that apartment was a closet. It fit a twin bed, my chair, and a small desk. That is all it fit. And so I was like, how can this room, which is probably half the recommended size for this AC unit, not go below 80 degrees? So I told my dad when he picked me up from my last apartment, I was like, hey, can you just like check this out? And I guess he got busy and just never did it. And I forgot about it. So I finally get my AC unit into this new apartment. My sister brings it all the way up 4 flights of stairs, get it in here. And it was nice. I put it on and I'm like, oh my God, AC. It's been like, this was the last week in May, maybe. So this was a few weeks ago. And I quickly remember, oh my God, I forgot this thing doesn't go below 80. So I'm like playing around with it. I'm like, oh, maybe I have to clean up the filters. Like, what could be wrong? And blah, blah, blah. And then I realize that the whole thing is filled with black mold. And I was like, oh my God. I can't.
Isn't it still like relatively new?
It was only 2 summers old, but I guess maybe I didn't properly winterize it or something. So, but I'm like, it's one thing if it's just black mold on the fans, I could just clean that. The problem was, it was like, if it's there, it's probably within the entire unit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not opening up this entire unit to get the black mold out. Also, I think it must be broken if it's not going below 80. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to toss it and be done with it. I immediately order a new $600 AC unit. And I'm like, I'm getting a nicer one, and that's not going to break. And just one that's a little bit more powerful. So, okay. I fast forward to a couple days ago, I started having a roach problem. So I call up my landlord, and he comes in and he plugs all of the holes in my apartment. So thank God. But anyway, while he's here, he's like, oh, you don't have AC? And I said, no. I was like, my last one broke. I just ordered a new one. It's not going to get here till like the 16th. He's like, oh, can you just show me which outlet you plug it into? So it's like, yeah. So in my room, there's like the regular outlets, and then there's one special outlet that's like a high power one for air conditioning units.
Right.
And so he's like, oh yeah, make sure you're using this high power one. And I was like, oh, well, my last AC unit like worked when I plugged it into the lower ones. It's just that like the high power one is like next to my computer and right next to the, like where I sit. So like I didn't want to put it there. I wanted to put it like a little bit further away in the room. He's like, oh no, if you don't use the high power one, the AC's not going to get enough power, and then it's not going to work properly. And I was like, wait,
is that it?
So are you telling me I just threw out a $400 unit because I thought it broke because I just plugged it into the wrong outlet?
No, Nicole,
are you kidding me?
The high power one.
So I'm just choosing to believe that the mold broke it, and that's it.
Okay. You know what? You're probably right.
I'm so sorry. Oh, that's terrible.
It's fine, just whatever, YOLO.
And now you have a better unit though, and it'll last longer.
Yeah, I'm just, sweating out like 1,000 calories a day. So, I mean, how bad
There
could
you
it really
go.
be? Anyway, are you guys ready to dive into the PlayStation 5 presentation?
Let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Play that intro.
Oh my god. So I actually didn't watch the PlayStation 5 presentation, so I'm gonna rely on Mike and Ryan to kind of give me the little piece of information that I need. So can one of you give me a quick overview of the specs of this thing? I did see what it looks like, and it does look like Eve from WALL-E.
It looks like
Eve
from WALL-E. It looks like the guy from Yu-Gi-Oh. It looks like
Kaiba.
It looks like the guy from Lijiang Tower. It looks like a building. So yeah, basically you have your router, you have your fridge, and then you have your toaster oven. The three main consoles.
You got everything.
But yeah, so basically in terms of the specs, because also this was basically a console presentation as well as a game presentation. Like, what is the console going to have? What can it do for you? And what games can you play along with, of course, backwards compatibility? So I'm not sure of all the specs, but what we saw them highlight was things such as 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, ultra high-speed SSD, ray tracing, haptic feedback, adaptive triggers on the controller, 3D audio, and more. And I think the cool thing about this as we dive into the games as well, they were really showcasing what the PS5 can do with some of these games. Now, granted, you look at some of the beautiful games like Horizon 2, or you look at Gran Turismo, like you look at these really beautiful games and you're like, oh, well, obviously that's utilizing the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. But what's interesting is that, some games, Nicole, really showed off the power of the high-speed SSD. Now, obviously, as somebody who has a slideshow for a laptop,
Right.
I can't know what that feels like. So when I see, and Nicole, I'll send you the link later, you see the Ratchet and Clank trailer. And basically, this is called Rift Apart, where they're kind of torn apart, but they're jumping from world to world. The trailer made it look like, oh, we know that we're kind of making a trailer look like he's jumping from a pirate location to a city location to a sky location. But that's happening within mere seconds due to the power of the high-speed SSD, and they're loading these environments in seconds. So I think that it was a really cool presentation because it showed off the games, but a lot of the features as well.
Exactly. I have no further comments.
No,
you said it perfectly. It looks so nice. Every game they showed off really shows what the system can do.
And the art styles too were also different.
Oh my god, I know. They're so good with it. I love the first party games.
So here's my thought too, and Mike, we talked about this briefly for the podcast, but I'm a little confused because I thought The Last of Us 1 was very, very popular. I thought it won awards, it did very well. People were obsessed. And so when The Last of Us 2 got announced, I remember it was kind of like a big thing.
Yeah.
I feel like ever since then, I personally feel like the hype has died down. It could be because I don't follow any of the PlayStation blogs or social media or anything like that, but I just feel like the community as a whole just kind of stopped caring about it. I think it'll still do well, but I just don't hear anything about it anymore. I didn't realize it was coming out next week?
Yeah, next Friday.
That's crazy to me. I thought it was so far away because there's no hype.
I would have completely missed it too. I really had no idea that this game was coming out because it got delayed once, and I'm like, after that, I feel like that's when it died down. But they're also just focusing on so many other things too, where their whole PS5 situation and I guess the whole quarantine thing really affected them too. But it's weird because I looked up, I'm like, oh, let me see if there's any reviews out, and there are, and I just completely missed them too.
That's weird to me.
Yeah. And it's getting really, really good reviews. I'm sure when the game comes out, it'll be advertised more. And I know on YouTube, I saw oh, here's the story trailer of the game coming out. But yeah, besides that, it doesn't feel like it's really being hyped up at all.
Yeah, especially when that was one of the games that people bought PlayStation 4 over.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if PlayStation's oh, it's a big game, it'll advertise itself type thing. But it really goes to show if you don't do it, games can just fall under the radar so bad.
Oh yeah, for me, somebody who I know of The Last of Us, my friend had it. I watched her play some of it. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. People will buy PlayStation for games like Last of Us.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Nintendo too. I don't want to get too much into the rabbit hole, but Nintendo honestly is only still around because of its IPs. Like
Yeah, of
in the
course.
hardware sense, at least. Like their
Yeah.
hardware is not that good. It really
No.
isn't. But they can
Like
get away with it.
that's why they sort of like rely on these gimmicks of like the Switch and stuff.
Yeah, they
Is
rely
like
on the gimmicks, but they also rely on Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon. People
yeah,
are going to buy a system for that.
yeah.
That's how it is.
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, that's all I buy too. I'll
Yeah.
buy a new console and then just play their main IP. I don't really
'Cause like
buy.
it's cool that they come out with like, "Oh, we're finally like Borderlands to the Switch." I'm like, "That's great," but like I've played that like 8 years ago. Like good on you for like trying to build up your library, but I wouldn't buy a game that runs worse on like the Switch than like get it on my PC or even like the PlayStation 4 or something.
Yeah, and it's something I also want to kind of like talk about too. Are like, are consoles still prominent? Like, think of it this
Yeah,
way.
I think so.
I mean, they are like they're still big, but I just wonder at what point are we gonna get to where PCs are just better, like in all aspects. I mean, they already run games better. I think the problem is just that PCs are kind of expensive. But what's the
Yeah.
price on PS5? Did they announce it?
No, because there's basically a standoff between Xbox and PlayStation, and you kind of brought this up to me when I was talking to you about, oh, I want to see Nicole, not Nicole, I wanted to see Nintendo
You do want to
announce
see me though,
things.
right, Ryan?
Right, Ryan?
Yes. I wanted to see Nintendo announce things, and you were explaining to me that Nintendo will announce things, but basically they're in their own sphere where, Xbox and PlayStation kind of compete against themselves in their own sphere. And the biggest thing that proves that is that neither the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, neither have announced their price. I think they're waiting for the other to announce it first. So everybody is speculating on what it could be. I think we're going to see a PS5 price of between maybe 500 and 700, but that's my guess. But we're still waiting on the price.
I mean, and that's a good point. Is that there's a dedicated group of console gamers that will never go PC. I get that. I'm just trying to think like at what point are consoles just going to be limited and just not be able to keep up with PC, and then people are just gonna say, well, hold on a second. If my PS5 is $700, I can get a pretty decent PC that could do way more than just PlayStation 5 games. Like at some point I guess what I'm trying to say is at some point you really are only buying consoles for the IPs. Because I feel like a game huh?
Sorry, finish up.
No, I mean, it's just like the point where it's like any game that you can get on, maybe the PlayStation 5 is different because it seems so much more powerful, but like, I'm just looking at the PlayStation 4 for right now. Any game that you have on the PlayStation 4, you can put on a half decent PC and it will run better.
Mm-hmm. See, like the biggest thing I feel is they don't like the console gamers like can just write. They don't really care too much about that. Like, yeah, specs are nice, and like when you see stuff like what the PS5's doing is like, oh, that's so impressive. But they're like, we just want these games. We don't want to like worry about building a PC, keeping it up to date, doing all
Yeah,
like
I
this
get
extra
that.
stuff to do with it. It's like,
Yeah.
I just want to play games. I just want to buy a thing I can play games on. Like that's like simple, like as simple as they can get. Not
I
that they're
agree.
like simple people for thinking that. Like I don't mean that at all. But it's just like, why do you want to worry about all that hassle if you could just like you're just there to play games. You just want to come home, turn something on, not worry about booting things up, not worry about updating things. Just boot it up, grab your controller, and just play.
No, I get
That's why
that.
like last generation I felt like was so big on like, oh, pick up and play. Like it's that easy.
I guess it's just I'm looking at it from like a money perspective because like to me, if I were to spend $700, like I'd rather get something that could do more than just games. And I think that's
Yeah.
where Microsoft is trying to like find their niche too, where we're not just a gaming console. You could do all these. You can connect it to a PC, and you could do all these like things. So I don't know. I guess it's just maybe that's just the way consoles will be forever.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look because at least to me, it's like if I'm gonna spend $700, I think that's a big price. But I also, and then just going back to the price itself, people, I would be shocked honestly if it was below 500. I honestly think the price is gonna be closer to 700. And the reason why I say
I have
that,
a feeling. Sorry, go on.
well, I mean, looking at these specs, I mean, with the Blu-ray and everything in there, even though Blu-ray's kind of, it's not really that new anymore, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be closer to $700.
I don't think so. You know the PS5 is coming out with 2 versions, right?
Well,
Yes.
the cheaper version's gonna be shitty, but yeah.
I mean, do you know if the specs are worse? I just know that it doesn't have the disk drive. Like I thought besides that everything else is the same.
That's what I thought. I didn't think it was gonna be worse. I just thought the biggest thing was the disk drive.
Yeah, probably, but I'm trying to think of like what they're gonna do. They're probably gonna make the internal storage really cheap, and then so you're gonna have to pay extra money to get bigger external storage so that you can actually store the games that you want to download.
Yeah, I hear that's a big concern.
Well, listen, because look at Apple's business model, right? So they say, yeah, you can get a new MacBook Pro for as cheap as $900, and you're like, wow, a Mac for $900? That's a great price. And then you look at the specs, and I mean, obviously their Mac specs are different because their different tiers have different parts in them, not like the PlayStation. I think the parts will be the same. Maybe one of them, maybe the cheaper one doesn't have an SSD. I don't know.
No, it has because like the games it runs are so specific where you can't have like a game run worse on like a different console.
Well, that's how they get you to buy the better console, though, right? It's like
No, again, like I'm pretty sure it's like, oh, if you're not, because like like digital games are sort of like the way it's going right now. So it's like, oh, why would you like a disc drive is pretty expensive from what I hear, or expensive enough where it'll increase the price. So it's like, why would you want to do that if you're just going complete digital? I mean, it could be the same price where it's like, oh, you don't have a disk drive, but you get more storage space for compensation. But as far as like the specs go, it should be like exactly the same, just because like it'll run everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just know that like companies like Apple will say like, oh yeah, we have the cheaper version, and then you look at it and it's like you can't use this for anything more than just something basic. I don't think Sony would do that, but it's just that's how they get it because they're like, oh well, you could just buy the cheaper model if this is too expensive. But then you look at it and it's like, yeah, but I might as well spend the extra $100 and actually get something I can use.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just skeptical, but I mean, hopefully
I mean, you should be skeptical.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's still gonna be expensive. Like the lowest cost one's probably still gonna be like, I guess is gonna go 400, 500.
I mean,
And
that's reasonable.
It's reasonable, but I also do think I'm being optimistic. Because you're right, it's a lot.
I don't know. SSDs are expensive. You know, like 120. What do I have on my? I think I have a 500 gigabyte SSD, which is not that large, because not only you have to factor in too, that's not 500 gigabytes of space that you can use. 50% of that is going to probably be the operating system. Maybe not 50. Let's say 25% of it's going to be the operating system. So now you're already down a large chunk. Also, you can't use more than 75% of your storage space anyway, because then it becomes unreliable and then it crashes. So, I don't know, like the 500 dwindles down fast. So I actually don't have anything on my SSD other than the operating system, and like a couple of large games that I need, like World of Warcraft, even on the SSD takes a while to load. So I have that on there, and then I think I have.
So I can put Overwatch on there just to get.
Yeah, I think I have Overwatch on there, but like that's it. So that's why I'm a little hesitant on the price. But you know what? Maybe they were able to make it kind of cheaper than we think, and they're just kind of waiting for Microsoft. I'm wondering what Microsoft's going to do, because I don't think Xbox has been in the best spot, if I'm mistaken.
I have a feeling that from what I've been hearing, I think they're going to change their business strategy. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with this PlayStation 5. I have a feeling they're going to try to, instead of trying to have Microsoft exclusives, I think they're going to try to have more games that aren't exclusive for the system. They're going to try to like market their games to like Nintendo and Sony. And like you said, Nicole, they want to be more than just they want to be more than just, you know, that gaming. Like, hey, we can do more than this. I think that they want to focus more on that diversification strategy and market to Nintendo and Sony. I think they're going to find their new niche there. I don't think their presentation in July is going to be able to match, you know, both the console star power and the game lineup star power of PlayStation 5. So I'm curious to see how they're going to change up that business strategy.
I don't know. I think from what I heard, Microsoft's been getting up some IPs and stuff. Like they're really trying to build up their game library, and just the fact that it's like they have Game Pass, which is already like an amazing deal, and they have all these games coming out, or they should have all these games coming out. I don't know. I think they could be in a good spot.
I hope so. I like Xbox, and I think it's good competition for PlayStation, because like I said, Nintendo is not competition for either of these two. So I think it's good because it's going to keep pushing Sony and Microsoft forward.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely the price that's going to be the big deciding factor.
So what other games were announced that you guys are interested in?
Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, just quickly looking at the list. I'm excited for the new Spider-Man game, which is
Okay, well,
yeah.
to clarify, I'm actually pretty sure it's not a brand new game.
No,
Just a
it's
lot of
not.
people thought
That's
it.
exactly what I was gonna get into.
Sorry,
So
go.
so basically, how from what I read of like a quick 4-minute IGN thing is that I don't know if you heard of like the Uncharted game that's sort of like the spin-off of it, of like the Lost Legacy, where it wasn't really like a full Uncharted game. It was like a $40
Yeah.
like side adventure. It's supposed to
Mhm.
be like that.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like expanded from like what the original Spider-Man game is. It's definitely not supposed to be as big as like the other game.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it'll include the other game in it, just like updated for PS5. I don't think so. But it's supposed to be like I don't know. It's like this weird in between from like a side story to like it's a fleshed out thing. But it's definitely 100% not supposed to be as big as like the Spider-Man like
Gotcha.
original game. But either way, like I really like if it plays anything like that original game, I'm very excited for it, even if it's only like half the length, but for like half the price. Like I'll definitely take that. So besides that, I'm excited for Ratchet and Clank. I'm excited for Project Athia, which is Square Enix's new game exclusively for the PS5. They announced a new Little Big Planet game, which sort of is like a platformer, and I love Little
Mhm.
Big Planet, so I'm excited for that. Obviously, the
Mhm.
platformers. Um, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, I'm excited for,
Yes.
and then Horizon 2. I still need to play the first one, but Horizon 2 I'm excited for. And then they also announced Resident Evil, which I'm excited for the Resident Evil fans.
Yeah, no, I thought they had a really good lineup. I would agree with almost all those choices. They all looked really good to me. Again, like I said at the start, I was just really quickly amazed at not only how different the art styles look. Like this each look like their own fleshed out movie or adventure. They all look so unique and different, and I think they have a lot of cool ideas and personalities. Like the Project Athea, I'm really excited to see what they do with that. The Kenna Bridge of Spirits kind of looked like a mix of like a Zelda game, but it had like some nodes of like a Okami with like a little bit of Pikmin. Like it had a really cool
Yeah.
art style and a really cool gameplay feature to it. And then obviously, if Horizon is, I mean, I heard great things about the first Horizon, but if it's very similar to the Breath of the Wild, very open, very explorable, I think it's going to do well. I think it was tough because if I remember correctly, in 2017, Horizon 1 and Breath of the Wild came out around the same time, and I think that they both did very well. They both were nominated for Game of the Year, but Zelda being Zelda is what edged it out, but also I think the fans liked what Breath of the Wild did more. So I
Mhm.
think in the trailer for Horizon 2, you see Aloy doing some things that like Link can do. Like she's now climbing cliff faces. She's now doing different things with like the weapons and whatnot. So I think they're trying to capture some of that Zelda magic as well.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I will say though, even though the game seemed really good, none of them like together would make me want to buy a PS5.
Really?
Maybe I'm a sucker for those like adventure games, but I would buy like if you tell me, oh, you can get Horizon Forbidden West. Oh, hey, you also can play the first Horizon with backwards compatibility, and we'll also have the Kenna game. We'll have like Final Fantasy VII. Like I would like if you say to me like buy a PS5 for Horizon 2, Kenna, and like two other games, like I would consider it, as well as the
Yeah.
backwards compatibility of like Final Fantasy VII remake, etc.
Yeah, like I totally understand that, but for me, I'm just like I don't want to pay like the probably $500 for.
I'd rather just wait for the PS4 price to drop down and get that. For me
Yeah,
personally, as someone who plays mainly Nintendo, I'd just rather get a cheaper PS4.
yeah. I
Yeah,
wonder
but
if what they'll launch with. That's my biggest question.
but okay, but you're not gonna be able to play any of the new PS5 games on a PS4. Or are you just talking
No.
about playing older library, Ryan?
I mean, I guess there's still a lot of things I have to consider in terms of like when this is coming out and like how much it's going to cost and everything. Because I've been waffling about whether I want a PlayStation system, but I'm still thinking very much about it. I mean, I do want to play these newer gen games eventually, but I don't, like Mike said, and like you just said, I don't know if I'm a brand new PlayStation fan, if I want to jump with full feet in right away. So we'll have to see what happens. But if you're saying to me, like, is there a game on here that would make you buy a PlayStation? I would be very tempted not to buy it, like for that Horizon game or for like maybe one or two other games in this list, possibly.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like
Like
I'm
if I
probably in
had
the
a
same boat.
PS5, I would get a bunch of these games, but I wouldn't buy a PS5 for those games, if that makes
And that's
sense.
actually it's maybe a better way of saying it, Mike. Actually,
No, that makes sense. I agree with that. Because like A while ago, back in college, I was getting kind of bored of Nintendo, and I wanted to just try one of the other consoles out. I ended up getting an Xbox 360, and I did enjoy my Xbox. I can't complain about it. I got a bunch of games that I never thought I'd buy, but it's the same thing where it's like none of those games would have made me buy an Xbox. It was just I had an Xbox, and then I found a bunch of games that looked okay. I think the only thing at the time was I did want to play the new Halo game. So I think that pushed me to Xbox over PlayStation, but I don't know. Like it's just, I don't know.
Sometimes that's all it takes is that one game, and then you're like, okay, I got that one game for this console. Now I can get other things for
Then
it.
I ended up buying like a lot of other games. Like I bought Gears of War 2 or 3 or something like that, and I like that. That's where I played Borderlands for the first time. So I don't know. It's different because it's like Nintendo. It's like I'm always just gonna buy it. I feel like I'm stuck buying Nintendo things. It is what it is, and
yeah, me too.
But at least I know that I'm always gonna get a new generation of all of my favorite games on there. So,
to help you buy the next Nintendo game, we should finally pull out our directs and try to convince people to buy the Switch. That's a transition.
that confused me. That transition.
Well, before we get to our creating our Nintendo E3, do we want to quickly talk about Paper Mario? Because I mentioned this off the show, but I do think for a fact, because this was a 5-minute trailer going into characters, battles, and exploring and collectibles, there is 100% chance that when Nintendo had a E3 Direct planned before COVID, this was definitely a 5-minute segment. 100%.
Yeah, it had to be.
And
now all the other games are slacking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have my own thoughts on it, and I'm sure Mike does too. But I know Nicole, in preps for this, just watched the trailer. Did you have any quick thoughts, Nicole, first?
I mean, it definitely looks like it's going back to more of the original style, Thousand Year Door style. I have some concerns about the art style, if you want my honest opinion. I think some of it, like, I think Mario looks crisp. I think some of the battle stuff looks crisp. I just don't really like the 3D elements to it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I didn't like it in Thousand Year Door, but it was okay because it was minimal in Thousand Year Door, and I felt like that was charming. I don't like the realistic paper, if you want my honest opinion. That being said, I think the game looks somewhat promising. I definitely think that this is gonna be one of the better Paper Mario games since the original 2 or 3, if you want to count the third one in this. And I'm excited for it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it still. It's gonna be what I might actually wait. We'll see. I also am a sucker for this series, but I've been let down by it so many times. I feel like I'm actually at the point where I'm about to be at Pokemon, which is I don't really trust them. It's just sad because those are 2 of my favorite series. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, listen, Nicole doesn't have to buy the games to try them out. She has she instead of GameFly, she has RyFly. She'll try my games out before she buys them.
That's so accurate. And then Ryan will beat it in like a weekend.
There we go.
Okay.
I guess my thoughts on it actually is that it's hard. I'm so torn. I'm still in the phase of being cautiously optimistic, where they're obviously trying to go back to what the series was known for, with some of the partners and some of the quirky gameplay mechanics and whatever. But I think the problem is because I don't think that Nintendo's deaf to our thoughts. I think they know from everything they see and hear, and they definitely have some fans that work for them as well. There's no way they don't realize we want the original or Thousand Year Door. But I think they're in a tough place because they know we want that, but they're saying to us, well, we want to innovate. Like, we see this as a series where we want to innovate, we want to explore the paper mechanics, we want to kind of go try out new ideas. And like, basically, like, when we make a Mario platformer, guys, you know what you're going to get. But when we have a creative series like this, we want to expand, and I totally understand that. So I think the problem is that there's a disconnect between what we want and what they want to make, and this is what they come up with. But I think after all the backlash that Sticker Star and Color Splash got, I think now we're finally seeing them start to go more back to the originals. But it's still like baby steps. Like, there are partners, but the partners aren't as unique as they used to be. And it looks like they'll help you in battle, which is great, but it doesn't look like they have like their own health bar and move set. Like, the gameplay mechanics, it's more RPG, and at least it's better than the last 2 were, but it still seems kind of gimmicky. Again, I say cautiously optimistic because I think that it can be good, but they really can't mess up. Like the biggest thing, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. It doesn't matter how good the game is. If they mess up the battle system again, the game's going to be bad. Because the biggest flaw, other than Sticker Star and Color Splash not having a ton of personality with the characters, or them having like a world map and like all the problems that people keep citing, the biggest problem with those two games was that battling meant nothing because there's no experience. So all you battle for is coins, and you end up with a plethora of coins you do nothing with. Like it's kind of worthless. So there has to be a reason for this ring battle system. Like let's just say, like Nicole, in the trailer, you see one of the features is using confetti to fill in the world. Like if you get confetti or you get some kind of like tool or some kind of thing for battling, then I have a reason to battle. But if you just get coins and it's pointless, and there's no reason to even battle. So
yeah, you just skip the enemies.
Exactly. So I guess just to wrap up my spiel about it is that I think it has some good elements, and I'm probably going to buy it still because I'm a fan of the series. I'm optimistic, but like I think that we'll have to see how it is.
Mike, do you have something to say, or can I chime in here?
You can chime in here.
Okay. So, honest to God question: how bad would it be if they went back to a very simplistic art style, which honestly can't be that? It has to be easier than trying to do 3D models for everything. Like, what if they just went back to the art style that worked and ages very well? Thousand Year Door has aged very well, and that is an old game. And then devoted their time and resources to actually developing an RPG story with RPG characters.
Because I think it goes back to what I said, where I think that that's what we want, because it's not that hard, but I just don't think they want to do that. I think they want to keep exploring, and I think and granted, I know that they're a company, they're going to do what sells, they're going to do what they want to do, but like I think I've even heard a comment from a Nintendo spokesperson where, and I don't know if this is from Miyamoto or this is from somebody else, but like people keep asking like, why do we keep seeing generic Toads? Where are the unique characters? Where's like the Twilight people from Twilight Town, or where is like the Glitzville people? And it's kind of like, I think Nintendo just wants to, like, Toads are marketable. Like the casual fans or like the young fans know Toads. They like Toads. I just think that they want to expand and do what they want to do, but they hear our complaints. They're trying to find a middle ground. But I see your point where it's like it's not working in some elements.
And you know what frustrates me too is that when we were younger, Thousand Year Door worked on us, and that was a game that had unique shit. You know, I think that's what that. And I know that today's kids are different, but I feel like the fundamentals of just making a good game nowadays, it is the same no matter what time period you're in. I think the only difference, honestly, are the graphics. Because a lot of people look at a game and say, oh my God, this game looks so pretty, I want to play it. Like, how many games have you guys picked up that just look pretty and you're like, I want to play it because it looks beautiful? Like Ori.
Yeah. I mean, okay, honestly, and I do want to hear Mike's thoughts, because I know we've kind of been going back and forth, but I'm not going to lie. I think the game actually, I think it actually does look pretty good. I mean, I know sometimes the 3D elements can look kind of weird with the paper, but I think it actually looks pretty good. Like if we got like Color Splashes or Origami King's art style, but like if they ever did a Paper Mario HD, like I wouldn't mind this art style.
I don't like it. I think
it looks fine, honestly.
I feel like it just looks cheesy. Like it's like half-assing it almost.
Mike, what are your thoughts on all this?
So I do like the art style with Ryan. My biggest problem with Nintendo, and this basically goes to all their games, except like Breath of the Wild. Zelda's always been good with this. But they like to base their games in something familiar and then try to expand on that. So it's like, oh, like you said before, like the Toads are marketable, they work. So it's like, okay, we got the Toads down, we got the Mushroom Kingdom down. Now let's try to build some kind of unique quirk on that. And it's like this time around it's origami. So, but the good thing, which I usually like when Nintendo does, is like that quirk, they usually just run with it and it usually goes well. Like they're gonna use origami in like every sense that they can.
Oh, see, but I have a hot take on that actually.
Oh boy.
I really think that we've kind of gone off the rails with the arts and crafts mechanics, and I'm kind of getting bored of it. Like I think when we first saw Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World, I think we're like, that's awesome. They're making things out of crafts. It's such a creative idea.
Yeah,
now that we've gotten Sticker Star, where there's stickers, and Color Splash with paints, and we've gotten Origami King with origami, and then we had Yoshi's Crafted World. I feel like we've kind of hit the nail on the head. Like we've kind of like beat it with the hammer too much of like this is the same type of arts and crafts stuff again and again and again.
Yeah, I wonder why they keep going to it. Never really like sold it well. But
because I just think they want to keep and listen, I am still optimistic for this game and I think it can do well and I think it could, if they play their cards right, this could be, mark my words, this could be the third best game in the series out of the 6. I think this could actually
put this over Super Paper Mario.
I think it actually can be.
I think it can be too.
If they play their cards right. I just think the biggest thing is that they just want to keep experimenting and they do hear us. Like they obviously hear us. There's a line in Color Splash where there's a bunch of toads in line for a carnival and they say like, huh, guys, don't we all look the same? Or we're all just a bunch of generic looking toads. Like they're in on the joke that we want different things. I just think they're saying to us, like, we want to do our own thing, but we hear you, but I don't know.
I also think it goes back to the point that you brought up where if you want a turn-based RPG, you play Mario Luigi.
Yeah,
and that's Nintendo's philosophy.
Point where they're like, okay, that's Mario Luigi, and then Paper Mario will have to do something else.
When was
but
the
there's
last...
the game where Mario and Luigi teamed up with Paper Mario.
Oh, Mike, you might be lagging a little bit.
Hello?
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay. They had a game where they teamed up with Paper Mario and Luigi.
Oh, wait,
I did not even...
Wait, Ryan, is he lagging for you?
He's lagging for me, yeah, but I heard what he said.
Okay.
Beep boop bop, beep boop.
Mike. What was the last Mario and Luigi game?
The new one or a remake or a new one?
Both.
The last remake was what they remade in Bowser's Inside Story. I think that was like 20... Because the 3DS is dead now, so I think that was back in 2018 or 19 was the remake of Bowser's Inside Story. And I think the remake of Superstar Saga was 2016.
They remade Superstar Saga?
Oh my god, her memory. I can't.
Yeah, they did.
I love that game.
Oh my god.
Well, I have good news for you then.
But I think the last new Mario and Luigi game was in like 2014, and it was that Paper Jam game where Mike was saying that they merged it with Paper Mario, and it just did not look good. What I will say about this game though is that I'm glad they're starting to go back to, and this is why, and then we can go on to Nintendo's Fake E3. I think that they're trying to do a lot of good things, minus the bosses. Don't even get me started on tape and color pencils as bosses.
Honestly, that was a huge turn off for me.
Honestly,
I did not like that.
I think the thing with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is that it was a creative game with creative locations, and the only paper thing about it was like the paper abilities, like the plane and the boat and the roller. Like those were all paper abilities, but the game didn't lean on the crutch of paper. Now we're kind of leaning on the crutch of arts and crafts, and like this has gone too far. Like, listen, I can appreciate, like, if you say to me, Ryan, would you rather have like creative bosses like this, or have the Koopalings for the umpteenth time, or have like generic Goomba or Pokey? I'd rather have new creative enemies, but they could have done a little bit better than the bosses. Anyway, that's a whole different rant.
I will say, when they showed the roll-up tape, I laughed hysterically at it as a boss.
I do.
That was so funny.
I do think though that, putting that aside, because that was kind of bad. I will say the one thing I think this game really does have going for it is they're back to the unique environments, because that Autumn Mountain, the Ninja Town, the desert town, I think they're going back to more original locations like the original games, which I can respect. This is not like Color Splash or like Sticker Star, where it's kind of like generic grassland, generic desert, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they're doing more creative landscapes, but the biggest thing that I think can make this game good is they're doing more open world, like the open world desert exploring in that shoe, and then the open world like in a boat with the Wind Waker. I think those could be good selling points.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
That's what I mean. It has like a lot of good ideas going for it. Like, it has potential.
It has potential. That's the key word.
And I really do like the battling system this time around. I hope it works out.
Okay, well, listen, compared to Sticker Star and Color Splash, which were, I don't want to get on the whole Paper Mario rants, but I don't even know how Color Splash's battle system got greenlit to go. You basically have to look down at the gamepad, pick a card, color in the card, flick it up, and then you get to battle. And then Sticker Star has stickers. Like, at least this one, we're back to some type of strategic RPG element, at least.
Yeah, and I like the audience is back too. Like, I like how it's like circling around.
Yes, and the writing still seems good too.
Yeah, the writing seems top notch. So we'll see. I think it has potential.
Yeah, I think this is a wait and see, not a get hyped now, unfortunately.
I I do think it'll be the third best game in the series because I think that no one likes Color Splash and no one likes Sticker Star. And even though Super Paper Mario had a great story, I think people, for the most part, I think people kind of miss the RPG elements, and they also kind of thought the inhabitants of Flipside being geometric shapes was kind of meh. So I think if you poll the public of the Paper Mario community, I have a feeling if this game does well and fixes some flaws, it'll land in third place, which isn't a bad spot.
That's true. All right. Let's move on to what Nintendo's E3 2020 presentation would have been if they had it. What kind of games do you think we would have seen?
Well, I'll go first.
Yes, please.
Okay, so get ready.
Don't steal mine, by the way, because you know what I'm going to say?
I already stole yours. I'm going to start off with the first one.
Fine, Mike.
So I have great news for Nicole. Bayonetta 3 is coming out this winter.
Wait, is this confirmed?
In our fake E3, it is.
Oh, Mike!
Bayonetta 3 is coming out this winter.
It has to. We waited way too long. I need Bayonetta 3 now. I'm taking a day off of work and beating it one day. That is what's happening.
Get ready. It's confirmed. It's not going to be pushed back either. It's definitely coming out.
Okay, hold on. Bayo 2 came out in 2014, right?
Yeah.
So it's been 6 years. Give me what I need.
See, it works out because Bayonetta is going to be all about 666 this time around.
The Devils.
It works out.
Do we actually think they would have shown something? Because the last time they showed something for Bayonetta, I think, was 2017.
Look, my list is based in realism, Nicole, okay? Every single one thing I'm going to say.
Well, now I think you're trolling and that you think that they were going to talk about Bayo here.
No, it is. I wouldn't have put it in my list. You ready for my next game? I'm going to prove how realistic this is.
Okay.
Zelda the Minish Cap 2 is coming out.
Oh, no!
this September.
Okay, now we know Mike's trolling. Bayonetta 3 is never coming out. It's getting canceled, and Minish Cap is the one.
Good news for the Metroid fans. Metroid Prime 4 is available spring 2021.
Okay, Mike's just a troll.
But they're shadow dropping the trilogy, which you can download today.
Oh my god! That's the most Nintendo thing ever.
I have a hot take.
Okay.
Even though all of Mike's things just now were pipe dreams and craziness and trolling.
Wow. Okay.
Did you guys actually hear that there's a rumor going around that the trilogy's going to drop very soon?
Wait, from Metroid?
I put it in.
No,
I don't.
Yes. Oh, Nicole, you didn't know about that?
No.
It's not confirmed, but there's a rumor going around that sometime this summer they're just going to shadow drop Metroid Prime trilogy.
What? Wait, so what's in the Metroid? Oh, Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime.
That's
1,
the
2,
first-person series, right?
Yeah.
The GameCube.
Yeah.
Have any of you, Ryan? I know you played one of them.
So I'm actually a new Metroid fan. I've played the 2D one. So I've played oh my god, what is it called? I'm blanking so hard on that. Oh, Super Metroid on the SNES.
Yes.
Which is obviously a classic and it's a great game. And then I also played the 3DS remake of Metroid 2, which is Samus Returns, which is actually really, really good. So like I would slowly be getting into the series. I've never played Metroid Prime, but if they drop the trilogy, I'm 100% getting it. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be a nice one. But it's coming. It's download it today.
Oh my god.
Here's a realistic one. Bravely Default 2 is coming in the fall.
Okay, that's at least making sense.
Okay.
My god.
Cue the indie game montage right now.
Oh, you mean one of the 3 indie game montages?
Yeah. Sorry, I should have had 3. I only have 1 on this list. I guess this is not realistic
Nintendo
anymore.
supports their nindies.
They do. Oh, this is a good one. Pokemon Snap 2 got announced.
Okay, stop. Now this is just evil now. You can't do this.
And it's available today as well.
No. Okay, listen. You want to fix the Pokemon series? You need to release Pokemon Snap 2. You have to do it.
Oh my god, Michael.
No, okay, tell me right now that Pokemon Snap 2 would not be better than Sword and Shield.
Hey, I think it would. But I have good news. I have good news for you.
Oh
because
no.
Pokemon Gun, it gets announced.
Oh my god.
And it has a visual overhaul, end game content, and it's free for owners of Sword and Shield because they're really sorry about that whole mess they made.
You're really sorry. Hey guys, we're really sorry that Sword and Shield was so bad. So we're giving you a gun now.
Here's Pokemon Gun.
Oh my god.
So I have 3 more. So Diamond and Pearl remakes. I'm just gonna gloss over that because that's an obvious one.
That's evil.
But the good news is Glaceon becomes a starter Pokemon. So happy for all those Glaceon fans out there.
Yeah, all 2 of them.
And then Smash Brothers. I have to put this in because it's me. Rex drives into the competition
Oh
because
my god.
he's a driver.
Ryan, how do you feel about that?
Which parts?
The
And
Rex
then
part.
The Rex part. No, I have my list right here too for what could have been.
Well, Mike has
for
one
Nintendo.
more. Mike
And
has
I have one
Sorry,
more.
go.
And then Breath of the Wild 2 is available holiday 2020,
That is
and it's co-op where you could play as Link and Zelda. There you
That is the only realistic one, and I don't even believe the last part.
go. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my god, Mike, you're too much.
So I had a list too, and mine was more believable. I was trying to honestly think like what we have seen in Nintendo's 40-minute direct, and this is what I had. So obviously Paper Mario would have been a 5-minute segment. That much is pretty much confirmed with how they laid it out. I also had on here what Mike said, where I do think we're going to get obviously Smash news because Sakurai is going to announce the Arms Fighter, but I do think in that we would have seen a tease for what Fighter 7 would have been for the DLC, whether that's Rex, whether that's like a big third-party announcement because would have been E3 time, like a Crash or some kind of other third-party legend.
Rhine.
What?
Rhine.
Oh, it's Rhine time.
It's always Rhine time. I wish they had Rhine. It wouldn't happen.
It's Rex.
But
You would have to be a Rhine main, just FYI.
what's up?
You would have to be a Rhine main.
Of course. Well, I hear the thing. I would love if Ryan is easier to play than Shulk. I would definitely be a Ryan main. I love Shulk and Smash. He's just too high tier. He's like too high ceiling to learn.
Ryan doesn't have the Monado, so you don't have to worry about that.
He just bashes people with his shield.
Exactly.
But okay, so I had Smash on here like for like Sakurai's gonna show off the Arms character and then have the new character tease, which I think it was a given. I also had on here, because of the rumors, they were going to shadow drop Metroid Prime Trilogy, which the internet would have imploded. Like the internet imploded when they just showed the logo for
Metroid
Prime 4.
Mm-hmm.
They showed the logo, and the fans and the internet exploded. If they just say, "Oh, Prime Trilogy," which is very popular, drop, the internet would explode. So Nintendo would just win off that. I also had on here, obviously, the indies, like anything they show with the indies. I also had on here that we would have seen Breath of the Wild 2. I agree with Mike, actually, that we might see either playable Zelda or like some kind of like Zelda segment, because I do think that she was very prominent in that trailer. I also think that they heard the fans, because Breath of the Wild 2 is obviously extremely popular, but there were a few fan things like, the durability would have been a little bit better, or the weather was kind of annoying because I can't climb a cliff because it's raining, or I missed the traditional dungeons. I think we would have seen some fan requested things in that trailer, like it's still open worlds, but hey, you have traditional dungeons back. Hey, you have playable Zelda. Hey, you can now control the weather with like the Rod of Weather or whatever. So I think we would have seen Breath of the Wild stuff. Obviously, quick question, yeah.
Do you think that the future of the series is Breath of the Wild style?
No.
I think they're gonna move on from it.
You think they're gonna go back to the traditional?
Well,
style?
I discussed this on our last podcast. I think they're doing an every other year thing where they will say to us, okay, 1 year we're going to give you a new innovative idea for Zelda, Breath of the Wild style. We're kind of going off the cuff. But then the next year we're going to go back to what works, like the traditional Link's Awakening 2D Zelda, or we'll give you like a classic linear Zelda. I think they're going to go back and forth.
So like what I think they're gonna do, like I'm thinking of in terms of like Mario Galaxy, where Mario Galaxy was so big, where they're like, oh, let's just do like a sequel to Galaxy. And then after that, they're like, okay, let's move on to like a new Mario thing now.
That's
where like, I
true.
think that's what's going to be with Zelda.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, that was also on my my list for E3 as well, because we all knew the rumors were coming for the Mario remaster. So I think that we were definitely going to get a 35th anniversary segment in the direct, and they were going to go, hey,
that's what I forgot. I forgot a Mario game.
Yeah, remasters, they're coming in the fall. As for all the release dates that I didn't mention, I do think the remasters, if they're real, they're coming this year. Prime Trilogy this year. I'm firmly in the camp that Breath of the Wild 2 could have launched in the winter if not for COVID. So I'm going to pencil it in for spring of 2021 for Breath of the Wild 2. Prime Trilogy, like Shadow Drop. I think the Smash DLC would have been like dropped in June for the Arms character, or maybe the next character would have been like September. And then what other predictions did I have? I mean, obviously I had the pipe dreams, like Bayo 3 would have been, I think Bayo 3 would have either been shown. I don't think we would have gotten a release date yet, but I think they would have been like, hey, here's more Bayo. And then if I had to pick one more game that they would have shown or teased, I don't know. They might like have a new Animal Crossing update. I feel like there could have been a lot of good stuff here. I feel like Nintendo, because they've been so quiet, and I think all the rumors that are going around the internet is telling us, guys, don't worry, Nintendo has things planned. I mean, granted, they were listen, Animal Crossing has been making them do very well, so they're not struggling, but I think that we've all been wondering where the games are, and I think that based on all the rumors, all the inside info people are saying games are coming, just wait. So I feel like this would have been a blowout 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think they would have hit us hard. With all of our predictions, we got it all right.
Nicole, what about you?
They announced. Listen, well, first, realistically, honestly, I think we would have gotten shown a Bayo 3 teaser, and that would have been it. I don't think we would. I agree. I don't think we would have gotten a release date. And if we did, it would have been like 2021, not like quarter one, not quarter two. Like I think it just would have said 2021. I actually do think the Bayo's coming out next year. There's no way, because they've been actually confirmed in development since 2017. So that would be 4 years to develop a Bayonetta game. I feel like that's realistic, because didn't Bayo 1 come out in 21? Hold on, Bayo 1 came out in 2009, right? Sorry. Bayo 1. When did Bayonetta come out? Yeah, 2009 is when the first one came out. And the second one came out in 2014. And you have to remember, too, that's 5 years of development time, or that's 5 years between them. But not all that's development time, because Sony or whoever owned it, Capcom or whatever, sold it to Nintendo.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was probably a legal battle in there at some point. So
that's why we need it. Legal battle's over.
Legal battle's over. Nintendo wants Bayonetta to be sexier than ever, and we need to get Bayonetta 3.
If I'm going to be hopeful right now, I'm going to go on record, and I could be wrong. I'm going to say that, because of everything going on in the world right now and everything else, I think that Nintendo also operates off of a, like, not a lull, because Nintendo's never. I think ever since we left the Wii U era, Nintendo's been on a hot streak in the last few years. I do think they go for like a hot year and then like a lukewarm year. Like, here's my points. 2017 had the Switch launch, Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Odyssey. Like, they knocked it out of the park. 2018 had Smash at the end of the year, but you kind of had like a very quiet year otherwise. Like Kirby Star Allies, it was very quiet in 2018, but then you just drop Smash and you win 2018 at the end.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a lukewarm year, but then you go back to hot in 2019 with new Luigi's Mansion, new Zelda game with Link's Awakening, new Pokemon game, new like they port Dragon Quest. I think 2019 had a lot of huge hits, so that was kind of like a high year. And I feel like now in 2020, granted you have Animal Crossing, which was gonna come out in 2019, so that would have added to the hot year. 2020 now has Animal Crossing, which is huge, but you kind of have like a little bit of a lull now with COVID. And if they say, listen, we don't have a lot for you, but we can drop you at least Prime Trilogy and Mario remasters, they'll be fine and good. But then if you follow that trend, guys, then 2021 will be another hot year. And that's when I think, honestly, we'll see things like Bayo 3, Breath of the Wild 2, Diamond Pearl remakes. I feel like this will be kind of like a lull year with the remasters and with something other to hold us off. And then they're going to knock it back out of the park. What do you guys think?
We'll see. I believe it.
Okay. They announced Diamond and Pearl remakes and Bayonetta 3 and Breath of the Wild 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Yeah,
no one can compete. The PlayStation 5 cannot compete with that. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Last of Us 2, what?
They might as well just shut down their console.
Just cancel the launch and just move on. Accept defeat. Anyway, all right. Well, let's wrap this up. So, do you guys have any last remarks?
No, I think we're good.
I think I'm good too. All I'm going to say is that I do feel like, and this will hopefully give us a podcast topic for next week, but I do think that we're going to get some news this week in some regard, hopefully, about something. I do know that the Pokemon DLC comes out on Wednesday. I was actually texting Mike about this. I really hope they don't say to us, oh, we'll wait for after Pokemon to drop some news. But I do think we'll get some upcoming news, whether it's the Smash character or whether it's some other Nintendo stuff. And I think we'll have something to cover next week.
Mm-hmm. But I'm probably gonna get the DLC, so I'll give you my notes on that too.
Oh yes, please share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, if you get the DLC, let us know.
I'll be like, it was all right.
I will say this really quickly. I was watching a Pokemon streamer just really quickly the other day, and he basically said it he basically said it the most I don't want to say accurate, but like, I don't know. Basically his point was, I don't want to pay $30 for one DLC, or $25, whatever it was, for one DLC. He goes, I honestly don't think it looks that good, and I'm over Pokemon Sword and Shield. If the second DLC looks okay and I really want to play Pokemon, then I'll download the bundle after the second one comes out. That's what he said.
I agree with that.
That's the best bet. That's what you should do.
Because the first DLC, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first one is the one that looks kind of like meh. There's not a lot in it.
Yeah,
but the second one has a lot
to me.
Yeah, so it's like, why not just get the bundle for $30, right? The bundle is $30.
I think you have to buy it together. Like, I don't think you could buy it individually. Wasn't that it?
Yeah, that's true. It's $30 for the expansion pass. You can't buy them separately. You have to buy them together. So I think that streamer is correct. I personally, as a Pokemon fan who's been kind of scorned by Sword and Shield, I actually would buy it, but after the second one comes out.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
If the second one came out and you guys, like, I would wait for both of you guys to try it because I trust your opinion. So if you were like, actually, Nicole, this is pretty fun, and I got like a few hours out of it that were fun, I'd consider it. But I also have to remember, $30 is half of the price of the original game. So I should be getting a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if it was a $15 one, I probably wouldn't care so much. But you're asking me for $30 for two things that honestly should be all one DLC, if you want my honest opinion. And
in my honest opinion, it should have been included in the game.
I was just gonna say, honestly, half of that should have been already included. The first pass, or the first one, 100% should have been in the game.
Yeah, that should have been the in-game content. Why not?
And so really,
the only not doing anything new.
Yeah, and really the only DLC should be the second one. And even then, you're really asking me to pay $30 for that? Sorry, Nintendo. I love Pokemon, but you're like really
It feels like a ripoff.
It feels awful. I feel like my money and time has been disrespected, and it's a shame because I will love that series till the day I die. But it just has gone on such a downward trend. It's sad. It really is just sad.
Yeah. And
not even just like sad because I don't enjoy it. It's just sad for a series that is so powerful and so prominent in the world. They're like, honestly, who doesn't know of Pokemon? People of all ages know about Pokemon. Yeah, it's a household name. It is one of, if not the biggest brands in the world. And you still manage to screw it up. And it's the same freaking formula for the last 25 years. How do you screw it up?
All we gotta hope for is DP next year, Nicole. That's all we gotta hope for.
If I mark my words, if they screw up the Diamond and Pearl remakes, I will not buy a new Pokemon game. You cannot screw up the best game in the series. You cannot allow yourself to do that.
Again,
I'm sorry.
I agree with you completely. If they mess up my Diamond and Pearl, we riot. That's it.
We riot.
I'm just hopeful because there's obviously not going to be a third version because this DLC is our third version essentially, or like a sequel. So by all history, and granted, Pokemon and Nintendo are crazy. They can do whatever they want to do. But if history repeats itself, the next logical thing would be after a main game or after a sequel or a spinoff or whatever, they go back and they remake an older game or they give us like a thing of an older game. Diamond and Pearl has to be next. And the good thing is, listen, if they mess up the underground, they mess up the contest, they mess up the features, we're going to be very upset. But at the very least, we know that they cannot mess up the story because it's the same story. It's the same story. Like you can't mess up the story. So at least that's going to be the same, and the region's going to be the same. So I have high hopes.
But let's be honest here, Diamond and Pearl, nobody actually played it for the story. Like, yes, I know you can't mess it up, but the story in DP was actually not that good in my opinion.
It's better than Sword and Shield story.
No, okay, well, every story. Sun and Moon had a better story than Sword and Shield.
But Sun and Moon had a pretty good story, actually.
I actually kind of like the story in that one. But the point is, like, what made Gen 4 so good? It was the music. It was Sinnoh itself. Yeah. It was the Pokemon I thought were pretty good. But also keep in mind all of the extra features. Like, I actually really liked I love the underground. The GTS was a turning point in this series. It's like the first online Pokemon game. That was huge. And the fashion contest thing. Like, I thought that was fun and a unique twist. Please don't screw those up, Nintendo, because those are gen-specific features. It's not like those don't come back later. You can't just be like, sorry, we messed it up in this one, we'll fix it in the next one.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So please don't introduce any of your bullshit Mega Stone things. Please don't introduce any of this stuff that's gonna destroy these features.
Mega Stones. I actually, really quick before we end, I know we're going on for a bit. I saw on Twitter a common trend going around was you have to get rid of one, which you get rid of: regional forms, Mega Evolution, Z moves, or Dynamax.
Dynamax, I hate it.
See, I said
get rid of
Dynamax.
Z moves, 100%.
Okay, Mike, I had the same thought. I said when I first saw that, I'm like, listen, regional forms are really cool. I love Megas. Dynamax is so stupid, get rid of it. But then I thought about Nicole. I said, wait a second. I really didn't think Sun and Moon, I cared about the Z moves at all.
I forgot they existed.
Exactly. So now I'm like, ooh. And you know what else is a weird hot take? Dynamax is a weird, stupid feature, but the raids with friends could be fun in some elements. So I'm like, you know what? I don't like Dynamaxing, but I kind of want to get rid of Z moves now. But Megas and regional forms can stay.
Here's my thing with Dynamax and Z moves. Z moves felt like they were literally just shoved in there like, hey, look, another thing you click. However, Dynamax at least had a place in Sword and Shield where you had your giant stadiums. The gym battles, say what you want about Sword and Shield, I really enjoyed the gym battles in it. I thought it was fun. The Dynamaxing, while is not Game Freak's greatest idea, I at least had fun with it in the context of Sword and Shield. Do I want it to return? Absolutely not. But I just personally thought it fit rather because you had the giant stadiums. That being said,
I will say the spectacle of it was really, really cool.
Oh yeah, the spectacle was fun. It's stupid I don't even know if you can use it in competitive battling, and also they really screwed up the group battles on it.
Yeah, it just got so boring so fast, and it hits the point where I'm like, Dynamaxing. Like I'd rather see like the super move like animation. Like at least I'd rather feel like I'm doing like a powerful one attack move that could be like a game changer rather than okay, this guy's big for 3 forms, and now I gotta like play around it, but it's like annoying to play around. And like the raid battles are just, like I'd rather have like a mega form, like fight a small mega form.
Oh, 100. Like listen, we're arguing about the 2 worst features, so it's like if that was the worst and the other one's the second worst. So I mean, like I agree with you that they're both bad.
I 100% agree with that.
But I like the mega forms. I think the region forms were actually one of the best things they added to this game.
Yeah, me too.
Hot take, but I think it's a nice way to bring back people's favorites and kind of change it up a little bit. But some of the forms need attention. Like, all right, Galarian coughing or whatever, wheezing. All right, come on, bro.
I think that's supposed to be good, though.
No, I hate that one.
I mean, competitively, it's good. But Nicole's right, though. I mean, like, I would have never considered using, like, Farfetch'd ever again. And you say to me, oh, Farfetch gets a regional form, and hey, now it evolves into a brand new Pokemon that's a fighting type? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use that.
Oh, I also like how they changed the typing on it.
So. Exactly, yeah.
But all right, we can stay in the stream and chat for a second, but I just want to wrap up the podcast. So thank you guys for watching. As always, we're live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/btcyd. That's BTCYD. You can also email us at getblueshelled@gmail.com. And you can find us on Twitter at getblueshelled, at BTCyd, at WinthieWhip, and at 4Lenza. And with that, we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.